Noticing how the inhale has a rolling in sensation. And the exhale rolls away. Oops. And we can start to count the breath. So as we inhale, I'm going to breathe in for a count of 4. And as you exhale, breathing out for a count of 4. And that count can be quite slow, or it can be relatively fast, whatever feels natural. So we're not trying to extend the breath here, but automatically when we look at the breath, sometimes it might extend, but we're not going to try to do that. Breathing into your center, so the breath being drawn down into the lower lung from your diaphragm. And perhaps we can focus a little bit on the back of the diaphragm, so the back lower rib area where the diaphragm attachments are. So as you breathe into this lower back area, lower rib area, you probably notice your heart lift as well at the same time. A lot of the time people don't breathe into the back of the body, but we have most of the lung compared to the front in the back of the body. And of course, when we breathe, especially when we move to the back of the body, the spine gets more of a chance to move. And so it can help to decompress the spine with the breath. A few more rounds. And then we're going to be attentive to our feet. So feel the ground beneath your feet. And that's the focus point. And we're going to walk the feet towards each other with the heels and then the toes and then the heels. And as you do that, the soles of the feet coming together, so the knees will drop wide as you do that. Okay. So we're going to do this a few times here, several times. And I'd like you to think about your feet and the legs just following. So don't use your legs, use your feet. So your feet are going to walk themselves apart again until they come out with the heels and in with the toes. And then, of course, the knees flop against each other. And then you can walk. So as you walk the feet in, the knees are already thinking about widening. Yeah. You all right? Okay. Yeah, so just keep playing with it. I'd like you to really sort of think about the feet. So as you're walking your feet out, the knees, right, so like this, Karen. And as you walk the feet in, that's better, yeah, the knees go. So rather than bring the knees together, let them follow all the way. Let's just check. Yeah, that's good. That one's good, yeah. And then, yeah, like that. And then walk them out again. Yeah, follow it, follow it. At that point, you bring your knees in. At that point, can we let them stay out? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so just a few more. Is this making sense now? Yeah. Okay, last one. Okay, good. And then we'll end up with our feet wide, knees together. Let's open out your wings out to the sides. And then you can turn your toes so they point forwards, they're not angled in anymore. And we're going to drop our awareness into the right side buttock. So roll over onto your right buttock so you feel the ground. So you release the tissues within the body so that you can really feel the floor behind the buttock. And then roll back, drop into the ground to come out. So the movement comes from behind you. We're going to take the knees over to the left. Again, the awareness and the movement feels as if it's operating behind you from the floor. And then we'll come back up. Again, the movement comes from underneath, so we fall in. Let's play with it a few times. A little bit like your own personal masseur, the floor and yourself. So a sense of touch. Your feet rolling over the ground. And can we bring the arms a little bit higher up? Don't have to go all the way back, but just more width at the chest and armpits. Let the elbow relax to the floor. And when we next go to the right, you can keep the knuckles of the left hand on the floor, but on the way, roll over onto your right hip a bit more so that your chest leaves the ground. And then when you come back to the middle and go over to the right, left, on the way, let the right armpit lift off the floor and you're getting further over onto your left hip. You might find more pressure go down through the head. And then play with that a few times. So it's almost like you're about to roll over onto your side. The whole of the knuckle of the back hand will probably start to leave the ground the further over you go. You might find you get up onto your fingertips. As the further you roll, you might end up on your fingertips pointing down, and you're on your right shoulder, right hip, almost like you're about to go over onto your side. So your fingertips will face the floor. You turn. I'm going to come around and help. So that's when the fingertips face the other one. Yeah, turn the other way. Yes, yes. Keep going. A little bit more. There. Yes. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then try the other way. So turn the fingertips other way. Yes. Yeah.
It's more comfortable.
Yeah. Keep going. Yes. Yeah. So roll over onto the fingertips. Nice. It's almost like this is how a baby might roll around, isn't it? Like, oh, I need to get up from here. I'll roll over onto my side. And then you might roll pretty much all the way over onto your side as if you're about to get up. If that's okay. So your top, the foot behind you will start to drag. Maybe you can roll so far around that your chest faces the floor and your back hand comes forwards. So for instance, if we go to the left, you'd be rolling onto your left side, right fingertips, and then your right hand would come right the way over and you'd be facing the floor. And just keep flowing to and back and forth. Nice. Just a couple more or so. Okay. When you've been to the left next, just pause for a moment so that I can explain the next bit. So we will go, if you're confused, you can just look. So when you go to the right, you're going to do what we've just been doing, but maybe come up here, okay? And then you would go all the way back down. I'll show you on the other side. And you might come up here. So it's a bit more of a twist in the thoracic spine, okay? Right. So you can go over to your right, all the way up onto your side, and then push yourself upright with both arms so that you're in down dog arms and you're turning the chest a little to the right. Just follow the flow through the spine. Then slide your right arm away from you. Roll back the way we came. Over to the left, and then slide yourself up, turning the chest to the left. Great. And then slide your right arm away, or your left arm away. Roll onto your back. Okay? And just have a play with that a few more times. Maybe one more to the right and left, and then come back to the middle. Okay. Maybe we'll just add on one more thing. So when you next have finished going to the left, come back to the middle, and we'll go over to the, this one will be going over to the right, exactly as you were doing, and then coming all the way up to sitting, okay? And then we'll go back down. And we'll do that a couple of times on each side. So you're propping yourself up, but then you're coming all the way up to sitting. Good. Yeah. That's it. And then you've next been to the left. Then you can go back down. Okay. And then bringing your right knee, just going to drop back into your right hip. So let your right hip hang, fall down into the floor. Bring your right knee towards your right armpit. And hold the knee with the hand, with the right hand, the kneecap. Okay. And then let your right knee move away from you so your arm straightens. And then rock your knee like you're swiveling your knee. That's it, yeah. So you're loosening into that joint. your hip joint. Lengthening out the left leg down the mat. And can we swivel that right foot? As you'll notice it's coming over the left leg a little bit maybe. And can we bring it up over the leg? Hold it with the left hand now. And then you can release the knee and then start to make some circles within your right hip. You can just let the foot rest on the leg there, Karen. Yeah, so you might end up on the side of the foot, like almost like half lotus. And then scooting your left knee so that your foot's on the floor, left foot on the floor. Again, little circles inside the hip. Try to keep the pelvis and the left leg still, so it's just happening from inside the right hip. And then what we'll do is we'll move the right knee away from you and keep your lower back slightly low to the floor. So what often happens is if the knee moves away, you'll lift your tummy. So you're going to keep your lower back slightly low to the floor. And then bring your knee towards you, and it might be such a tiny amount, but bring your knee towards you. But keep your tailbone down as if you had a really long tail and it was just laying flat down the mat. Okay? So as you move the knee away from you, keep your lumbar spine low. As you move your knee towards you, keep your tailbone low. And when the hips are tight, there's not a lot of movement here, so don't expect big things unless you feel, that it's available for you. And then keeping the right leg pretty relaxed, we're going to bring the left knee towards us. If that hurts your right knee, let me know. Perhaps put the foot down, the left foot down. So you're still in that position with the foot to the thigh. Anyone hurting in their knee? Let me know. And then take your hands around the back of the knee. Okay. You can let the left foot drop to the floor. Okay. I'm going to put something underneath your head. And just let your legs fall away from you a little bit. So your tail is, that's fine actually. Your tail is long down the mat. Do you feel you need a strap? Does it feel, have you got a good clasp around the legs, or do you need extra? No, it feels good. Yeah. And maybe, again, if there's any space here now in the right hip, you can make some circles. Again, you're not circling on your lower back, although you could do, there's nothing wrong with that, but we're isolating the right hip. Now, if it feels all right, just see how you go with this. Can you roll onto your right side? So you're bringing your elbow to the floor, your right elbow to the floor, and your right thigh might touch the floor. Okay? Good. Maybe your knee could come towards you a little more, but just be careful. And then rock back to where you came from. A little push with the elbow will help. And then explore that a couple more times. leaning into the ground. And coming back again. Last one. It might be that you don't want to come all the way to the floor, in which case just go some of the way. I should have said that. Okay, and then coming back. As it might feel a bit non-fluid. Okay, so let's bring both feet down, flat to the floor. Just notice the difference behind the right side compared to the left. Might feel a little bit strange difference. And then you're going to bring the left knee into the left hand. And let the knee slightly, very slightly, and it's not coming into the middle of the chest, it's very slightly going to the left. And then lengthen your arm. And you're kind of letting your left thigh drop down. You can use a little push with your left hand into the floor behind the left side of your pelvis. And then use your hand on your knee to swivel your knee like you're turning tap. You're turning a tap, kind of that. That's it, yeah. So you're kind of getting into the hip socket as you do that, because that's the other end of it. And you're letting the leg kind of drop back. So you're not using the bum or the leg muscles to do it. We try to find a softness. And then slide the right leg down the mat. As you're doing this with the knee, you'll notice that the foot goes across the right a little bit. And that gathers a little momentum. And we take it across and hold the foot with the right hand. You can let go of the knee. Okay. And it might be that it comes sort of in towards a half lotus position. Don't pull the foot there, because it has to come from the hip, not the knee. Okay. Then, just making some circles with your left hip. You know, and a strap is sometimes quite useful if the foot feels too far away. Can the foot rest on your leg, Karen? Hold the top of the foot. The other side, yeah. There you go. You might be on the edge of the foot. Over time, we're on the outside edge of the foot, rather than the sole of the foot. And then, you know, you can start with taking the knee. We didn't necessarily do this on this other side, but let the knee come relatively low away from you. Don't force that. Always honoring your body. And then scooting up your right foot. Continuing with the circles. Again, see if we can isolate the knee and the hip. So your foot's on the thigh rather than being held in your hand. Karen, if you let the foot rest on the leg. Yeah. Does the foot not like resting on the leg?
It just doesn't like, it just restricts the movement in my hip. So I thought it was more.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because
that feels good doing it that way.
Yeah. Do you mean to move it?
Like that.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Because then the leg gets a chance to rest because it's resting on something.
Right.
But override me if it doesn't feel right. And then you could scoot the knees up towards you so that you're holding behind the right knee. Good. And then, again, we're going to, as we move the knee, the left knee away from you, do you notice how you want to roll to your bottom more, to your tail more? And as you bring your knee to you, do you notice how you want to flatten your back into the ground more? So we just need to notice that and see if we can not make that happen, so that when we move the knee away from us, the lumbar is still low. And when you move the knee towards you, the tail is still low. So basically, we're just keeping a neutral spine the whole way. You don't need to go all the way over actually to the left. We don't need to bring the elbow to the floor and the thigh to the floor unless it just happens anyway. But perhaps try to take a little tip over to the left. Maybe you just play with that a few times, 2 or 3 times. Is it a bit easier on that side? Yeah. And coming back again. Just so long as it's not hurting the knee, because if you come down too quickly, it might jar. So just careful. You know how it feels anyway. Maybe you stay for the last one a little longer. Good. Well done, guys. Well done. Okay, let's come back. And then release both feet to the floor. And then just noticing the 2 sides of the pelvis. So, let's bring the arms out to the sides, maybe a little higher. You're going to slide the back of the pelvis away from you and curl your bottom away from the floor. Keep your lumbar spine down for now. Just curl away from the ground so that the back of the pelvis, tailbone, sacrum is all moving up towards, as if it's facing up and trying to reach the back of your knee. The backs of the hamstrings are kind of aware of this as well. And then can we go further up to the backs of the knees? The hamstrings, the buttocks will be aware of it too. So we've lifted now onto our rib back. And then where the ribs are, each rib is a different vertebrae. Can we roll over the rib vertebrae towards the sort of shoulder end? So you're moving to the back of the room as well as to the deep back of the knee. So it's a two-way move so that the spine can elongate. Just relax the hands and the wrists and the elbows and the heart. And then can we roll down one little tiny bit of skin at a time? Seeing if it's the last thing to come down is your hips, is your pelvis. So the lower you get, to try to bring the bottom down last, you'll feel the abdomen fall in quite deeply. And when you come to land, just take a couple of breaths. And then we'll use an exhalation, curl the tailbone away from the floor and just hang there with the pelvis off the ground, everything else still down. Aware of the buttocks, we're not going to squeeze them, just let them take the load, the backs of the thighs, the deep back of the knee. Don't push with your feet, just drop through the feet. And then roll up a little more. keep spilling into the floor. So that means your feet and whatever part of your back is on the ground. The higher you go, let your throat drop in. So that means that you'll be on further down the back of your head, really, as you come up. The eye gaze, if the eyes are open, ideally they're sort of not facing directly up above where your eyes are, but as if your eye gaze is slightly lowered, so they might come to the ceiling this side of the room. And that might help you to feel longer in the back of the neck. And then roll down. Keep everything high apart from the bit that's rolling down. So we incrementally lay the spine to the ground. And once the pelvis has come to rest, we'll then bring the feet into the sky. Open the foot. Good. And then, can we curl? The feet will go to the back of the room as you do this. Can you curl your bottom off the floor? It's not going to work for everybody, don't worry. Nice. And then lower. That's it. Play with that a few times. You might find, if it's completely not working, that the hands could come to the floor beside your hips and just curl your bottom off the floor, as if you were going to do a bridge, but we're obviously rounding the other way. It's just your bottom leaving the ground. It might work out that you can take your lumbar spine away from the ground as well. And then just roll back down. And so we play with coming up and down a few times, but most of the awareness is coming from behind you, so that there's a lot of rest into the floor, a lot of leaning into the ground. And it might work out for you that you can roll all the way up the thoracic spine, the rib spine, possibly. Don't worry, that doesn't work out. Sometimes it's easier to hold the legs or the feet or the ankles and pull them up. See what works out. Just a couple more. And over time, instead of the feet going towards the floor, what we're kind of looking for is over time for the feet to start to come, I'm not expecting this to happen today, but the feet to start to come up towards the sky rather than down towards the floor. One more. And then from the roll up, we're going to roll up to sitting. That's a tough one, isn't it?
I can only do it when I swing, when I really...
Give yourself a bit of momentum. Yeah. Okay, let's come around onto hands and knees. Okay, and we're going to open the hands, so that means from sort of there to little finger mound to thumb mound, go as wide as you can across that spot. Okay, softening into the elbows, rest the elbows back towards the this sort of back line of the body, so you're going to go back, leaning into your triceps. Okay, and then when we come up, You're going to have the toes tucked under. We're going to come into down face dog. Toes tucked under. Try to bring the big toe wide away from the other 4 toes. Knees a little bit wider than your feet. And push your ankles back. Okay, so in a moment we'll go into down face dog. Just for now, we're going to push the ankles back until the knees lift. So it's quite a strong action inside the foot. Okay, so I'm not really using the hands too much. It's coming from the foot. Play with, the hands just rest, otherwise I'd probably fall on my head, but they don't push you off. Quite a lot of work in the foot. Maybe you can go all the way back if that works out, towards a squat. But it comes from the foot, so the hands are not doing too much, apart from stopping you falling over. And then from that, we can go back and up into down face dog. And then you can come back down. When you come back down, go wide with the knees as if you're coming via your squat, back to the floor. So it's out with the knees and you level up the knees so that they face forwards, and then out with the knees and coming down. Just a couple more. Well done. And then when we next get into down face dog, we'll stay. Pedal out your calves, so bending the knees one at a time so that the straight leg gets more stretch in the calf. Have the whole of the hand on the floor. And pedaling out. Good. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. And then let's roll up, so drop down into your feet as you come all the way upright. You've got a beam in the way. You've got a beam in the way, and you've got a beam in the way. There's 3 beams, 3 people, and me. Oh well, so you might need to, depending, I mean, I'm okay really, but yeah. So what we're going to do is, we'll all shift down a little bit. So we take the arms like this, that's an inhale. And exhale, you're going to roll in. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, roll in. Inhale. Exhale. And so the movement's coming from the spine, but also the shoulder blades. So as you roll in, the shoulder blades widen, separate. As you roll back, shoulder blades come down your waist. Okay, a couple more. And then inhale. Okay. So from here, we're going to just let the elbows come down towards your waist. So that comes from the shoulder blades coming down towards your waist. And then as we exhale, so it's an inhale, I'm going to focus on your upper spine. As you exhale, you're going to round your upper back, let the knees bend. Inhale, go back again. Open the heart. Exhale, round your upper back. Play with it a few more times. The elbows may come together, but it doesn't matter. It could be that you don't come anywhere near each other. You're just looking for space in your back. Let the elbows come down your back. And then open the back. Kind of like, I think in Qigong they call this spinal cord breathing. There's a movement through the spine. About another 10 or so. Could go for 5 minutes, but we won't. Couple more. So when you open the heart next, you're going to open the wings up to the sky and exhale, take a dive. Walk the hands forwards into down face dog. And pedal out your calves. So if you bring your right leg up, so into the sky, circle your ankle. Cracking ankles. Okay, and then bring your right foot through between your hands. I'm going to mirror you actually. Right foot through between your hands, dropping into the knee. Back knee. Yeah. And slightly press through the back foot so there's less pressure in the knee. Take the hands on the inside. Okay, and then little circles inside that right hip. Okay, so if we come up, place the hands on the knee. You might need to move your foot back a little bit there. Yeah, if you move your right foot back a bit. Yes, yeah, the foot. Yeah, I'm just looking at your knee because the foot needs to come back. There you go. Yeah, and then take the hips forwards. Yes, yeah, that's it. Okay, from the back knee, from the back shin, if we imagine that we're trying to move the shin out in 2 directions, towards the toes and back up towards the thigh, if that makes any sense. Kind of makes the foot go down a bit more, you might find. And then take your left arm up and we're going to lean to the right. And you can make any kind of movements with this arm that's coming from the waist. So feel all that side body moving with the arm rather than just moving from the shoulder joint. And depending on that space, you might be able to take the arm in big circles, depending on the space. Crunchy. Last one. Good. And then placing the hand to the floor. Lift up the back knee. And we'll step, take the hips back and up and go back to dog pose. Let's ripple forwards to plank. Good. You're welcome to put the knees to the floor if you want to here. We're going to come all the way down. Might be an idea to come down knees first time. So we take the heart forwards over the fingertips. Keep going beyond the hands as you bend your elbows. And then pull the heart forwards. So the hands are dragging back. Pull the heart forwards and lift with the hands dragging back. And then lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. So again, as you go through these spinal waves, can we consider them to be using the whole of the spine? It might be that it starts to push into your lower back. That's just probably because the thoracic spine's kind of not getting involved so much. So if that's happening, don't push so high. Last one, and then up through hands and knees and down face dog. Let's bring the left leg into the sky and we'll circle the left ankle. So I'm mirroring. And then bring the left foot through to the top of the mat, lowering into the back knee. And take the hands on the inside. Okay. And then let's see if we can circle the knee. So it's also quite nice to circle the whole hips and the bum, but for now we're going to see if we can relatively, if we can isolate at the hip. Okay, and when we come up, hands to knee, push down through the foot. Down through the foot, up through the shin towards us, coming up this way. And then resting into your left thigh, bringing your right arm up. And we don't just drop into the ground, we rest through the ground, but there's a rebound, a sense of gravity pushing you upwards as you go over towards the side bend. And then this arm might sort of express itself from the waist. We move forwards and back. And depending on that waist availability and the space within the ribs, you might take it all the way into circles. Do honour your knees. So if it's tough on the back knee, pad it, or press down a bit more through the foot. Couple more. Great. And then bring in the hand to the floor. And we'll go lift the back knee, lift the hips, and go back into dog. And sway your hips from side to side. And then bring in the knees to the floor. Go back to child's pose. Keep the arms forwards. As the arms are going forwards, draw your shoulder blades down your back so that it's really active down your back muscles. And then release that active pulling back. Inhale, and as you exhale, pull your shoulder blades down your back. So you feel it all the way down into your mid-back, maybe even lower than that. And then inhale, release it. Do that a few times. Every time you exhale, the shoulder blades move down, and every time you inhale, you can dome your back a little bit, just the upper back. Exhale, pull back. Maybe look forwards a little bit more. Inhale, lift and tuck the chin. Exhale, maybe look forwards a little bit. Inhale, lift and tuck the chin. It doesn't have to be forwards, it could be just the floor, but the idea of moving through the whole spine so that the head moves. And the head, ideally, we're looking to move out through, lower down the back, so it's not just coming from your neck. Can we be aware of the movement coming through from between the shoulder blades as the head moves? And then pull back through the shoulder blades to bring you up, sliding the hands back, and then into down face dog. Come into a forward fold at the top of the mat. You might want to jump. So if you're going to jump, you bend your knees, you get low, crouchy, really low, and then maybe leap through. Otherwise, walk it. Okay, and then we'll roll up. When the chin comes off the chest, bring the arms up into the sky. And exhale at your heart space. Hands stay together in prayer. Bring the arms all the way up and down through the heart. A scooping action as you take them again, all the way up and down. Good. One more up. Keep them up. You're going to take your right arm down your back, left arm up your back, possibly interlace. Little bit wiggle, it's your left collarbone out to the side. Imagine you're trying to make this clavicle go wide, beyond those windows and doors. An optional forward fold here. Go easy, don't throw yourself into any shoulder pushing. Nice, okay, and then let's roll back up. Release gradually that left arm down your back. Release the other arm. Just let the arms hang for a moment. Okay, and then bring the palms together. Take them up into the sky. Take your left arm down your back and your right arm up your back. I've gone the other way, haven't I? Yeah. It's the old mirroring thing. So it might be your easy side, it might be your tougher side. And then can we move the right collarbone out to the side? You can move it back and forth. Get some mobility in there. Yeah, as if you're trying to take your collarbone and stick the end of your collarbone on that wall by the door. And then optional forward fold. Last breath. Okay, and then rolling up, soften the knees. Let your right arm slide lazily down your back and let the left arm come down as well. It's quite an opening one, that one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to give them a bit of a roll. Okay, so I'm going to take, as the arms come wide, drop your shoulder blades down your back. And then fly back where you came from. So the movement comes from behind you again at the shoulders, going down your back. The shoulders being your shoulder blades here, which is a massive part of your shoulders. So the shoulders can slide down the back and then come back to a space a little wider. Okay, last one, and then next time fly down into a forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. And then step or jump back to down face dog. And shift forwards. And you might want to round your back to get there, so we ripple through the spine. Coming forwards to plank. Okay. And then knees to the floor. Okay, so can we take the elbows, as the elbows move behind you, can you take the heart forwards? So as if you're trying to bring the front of your pelvis towards your hands. And then come back up. Okay, we're going to swing forwards and back. So think of, as you come forwards, that you're moving the front of your pelvis to, that it can really lead the way. It comes forwards between the hands. And back again. So just a bit wider, Karen, with the hands. Good. Allow your weight to roll over the outside edges of the hands. Keep dragging the pelvis through. Really nice, everybody. You could even roll over the hands like so as you come in and out, so you really get the sense of being in the outside edge of the hand rather than the inner wrist. Be on the outer wrist. And then on the next one, possibly we come through, so we still lead with the pelvis, but up dog. We still lead the front of the pelvis coming beyond the fingers. Good. Knees moving towards us. And then lowering to the floor. Nice. Lifting through the heart, inhale. Going back into down face dog, exhale. Bring the right leg up into the sky, scorpion tail. So turn the pelvis to face the right. Stack your hips. Take your right leg higher and fold more deeply over your left. Yeah. Then maybe you point the knee to the sky but the toes to the floor. So there's a bend in the right leg. Point up through the knee. And then spin it around and take your foot between the hands. Okay. So we step the right foot flat to the floor. We come in shorter. Okay. And then we'll come up. The hips can slightly face forwards to the left. Okay. And then take your right arm up. Left arm goes down your back leg. Nice, good. Last breath. And then hands to the floor. Let's take up onto the ball of the back foot. We'll go back and up with the right leg. Bend the right leg, but this time bring your knee almost to the height of the other knee. So you've just got one knee bent, basically. And roll onto the outside edge of your right foot, so it's like a side plank with your right foot. Now we're going to end up sitting on the floor to the side of your mat. So your right hand's going to leave the floor and roll to sit down. Yeah. That's it. Ta-da! Okay. Then we bring the right arm up. We'll bring the hips off of the floor, roll onto the edge of your foot for side plank again, and then take it back into down face dog. Well done. Let's take the left leg up into the sky. Bend the knee. And then we'll take the knee a little bit lower, so it's almost the height of the other knee. And roll onto the outside edge of your right foot. So we're going to sit down on the floor to the side of the mat here. The left hand leaves the ground, roll onto the back of the right heel. Good. And then lift up your left arm. We're going to lift the hips, rolling onto the side of the foot. And then come around into your dog. Let's do that one more time. So you're going to lift the right leg up into the sky. Bend the knee, drop it a little lower. Roll onto the edge of your left foot. Onto the floor, sitting down. Good. Then your right arm can go up. So you just have the right knee bent, and so the foot's on the floor. Now, before we come into the side plank, we can lift the hips, roll onto the edge of the foot, but lift the heart like it's a back bend. Nice. And then flip it around into down face dog. Last one, lift the left leg up into the sky. Bend the knee, bring the knee lower, and then roll to the edge of your right foot. Left hand leaves the floor. We're going to sit down. Your left foot will be flat to the floor, the knee will be bent. Good. Coming into a side bend, back bend variation. So left arm up, roll onto the edge of your foot, lift the heart, maybe turn it into a back bend, get the hips high. Oops. My foot slid. And then back around into down face dog. Ripple forwards to plank, roll through the spine. Knees to the floor, up dog. Pull the pelvis forwards and lower. Bring your head onto your hands. Just take a few breaths here. Child's pose. Rolling up. And then we'll take our legs forwards. Lie down on your mat. Okay, so let's take the arms a little wide out to the sides. And we'll come into a twist on each side, but you might have a variation that you prefer. I'm going to talk you through this one and see how you go. You're going to take your left thigh and cross it right the way over your right thigh, at the mid-leg. Okay, I'm going to mirror you. And then maybe double cross at the ankles. That part is optional. All of it's optional. So we're going to take the knees to the right, but before we do that, slide your pelvis to the left and then go over. Yeah. And try to stay on your left elbow, your left forearm, and the head might turn the opposite direction to the knees if that feels okay. So the head would turn to the left rather than to the right, or face up. You might want to uncross the ankle, or you might want to uncross the legs completely so that the knees are just stacked, especially if it's catching in the groin. Or twisting the knee. We're just going to wait here for a little while. So the breath is going to be your glide, if you like. So as we breathe, let the breath make a little bit of a shape change through your rib cage. Side body, back body, front body, hip, wherever you feel it. And that will create some movement. The movement creates a sense of glide, slide. It means that the fascia is on the move. When we do come out, we're not going to wave the legs around in the air. It's more a case of the movement that comes from the floor. So we rest through the ground, fall back into it as you come out. Keep searching for the ground through the skin as you bring the knees up. And then we're going to uncross the legs when you get there. And change. So the knees go the other way. The pelvis, obviously you probably have just automatically leveled it up first. Pelvis goes the opposite way to the legs first, and then take the legs over. So pelvis to the right, knees to the left. And it might be different on this side. Letting the eyes sink. Just following the breath. And we roll through the ground, come out. Okay. Level everything up. Your arms can come a bit lower now. Sliding the legs away from you. And let your feet flop. Sometimes when we slide the legs away, the back of the ankle gets a bit short where the heel's being pushed up into the calf. So just push your heels out and then re-rest the legs. And just a very brief supine meditation here. If you bring your attention or your imagination, bring into your mind something or someone that you love. It could be child, parents, sibling, pet, and see their face. And see how cute their noses or their eyes are, even if it's a really not cute one, but what it means to you. And let that feeling drop into your heart. And this is the seed that we're going to water now. We're going to take that feeling from the heart, and we're going to keep it in the heart, but let it move out into your body as well. So it expands. We're going to move that feeling of love and compassion out through your skin, even as it's tethered to the heart. And out through the walls of this room and out through into the whole towns nearby, all the people, all the animals and plants. And we're still keeping that feeling tethered to the heart, but let it move out into the whole of the country and into the planet, and maybe even into way beyond the planet and out into distant stars. We're just coming back through the layers, down, a little closer back, a little closer back, a little closer back, until we just come back into the heart. Maybe a sense of a heart having been widened. And then taking a breath and maybe a stretch, reach your arms and legs away from you. And tucking up your knees, roll over onto your side. And roll further towards the side to come up, almost like you're going to turn to the back of the room to come up. Great. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart. Namaste.